cat toy lady, and I am kind of addressing at least for the South, is a common misunderstanding that indoor cats do not need flea medication. And so that's what I'm here to talk about today. Let me get everything set up since my live had some hiccups of getting it started. For some reason, nothing wanted to work right. That's how it goes with lives. I never seem to have the perfectly smooth one. I really wish I did sometimes. But let's see. If not, I'm just going to have a weird thumbnail. But, it is what it is. I did have the stream set up, so hopefully no one is confused by it. And let's see. Will it even let me join my own? Because it is being odd. I guess that's what part of it is. Oh, yes, I do have people in here. Hello, Ninja Mama. Let's see. So, yes. Hello, everyone. And I have notes to pull up so I can kind of go over everything with you. Um, all through the summer or this winter, being that I am a vet tech by day, my full-time job, and I do mobile, so I go into people's houses. It is a very, very common thing for people to call us out and say, my cat is itchy and it's chewing a lot on itself, or it's, opened up wounds, stuff like that. Um, and they can't figure out why. And most of the time, it really is a flea problem. It could just be one flea that the cat got bit by, and truly flea allergic pets just that can set them off for weeks. But cats are really, really, really good groomers. So not seeing a flea on a cat is not uncommon, even if you have a flea problem. And then there's the people that will tell us, I have an indoor cat. It doesn't need flea medication. But they have dogs that go outside. Therefore, the dogs can bring in fleas or eggs. And people do not understand a lot of the time that flea medication, the way it works is the flea has to bite the pet for it to be killed or sterilized or both, just depending on the medication. So a lot of people think that it just leaves a barrier and the flea doesn't come near the pet, which isn't true. So that's what I'm kind of doing today, is busting some of these myths and just educating a little on things that we turn blue in the face in the veterinary clinics about telling people, especially down here in the South. Up north, fleas and mosquitoes are a little bit different than what we deal with down south. Down south, especially the last few years, it doesn't seem like it's getting cold enough to kill fleas and or mosquitoes. So we have them year round. It's different where you get really hard frosts. So that's, you know, if you're, let's say, in Maine, this may be a little different for you, or Wisconsin. You may be able to get away with not doing flea control during the winter. I even hear of veterinarians saying no heartworm preventative for dogs is needed during the winter. That is not true in the South. They can get heartworms from a mosquito any time of year down here. And I'm kind of based near the Atlanta area. I'm in the suburbs, for those of you that are unaware. And yes, and I see we have people from the UK. Um, I'm sure it's very similar to like let's see, I'm like thinking, I'm like, so yeah, like our northern states are very similar to the UK. Of you may not battle fleas year round, but it's still something to consider, especially in a house. It's warm. A flea egg can hatch at any time of year in a house because it's warm. So let me just kind of look at my points I have written down. So yes, dogs can bring in the fleas, but what people do not realize is the eggs are made a little bit sticky, and they're made so they can like stick to your shoes, stick to your clothing. Um, or if, let's say, you get a rodent in the house and a flea egg falls off it, or squirrels on the roof and squirrels come to the open window that you have just your screen open, fleas can actually get through screens. most of them. Just the way they're made, they have little areas that they can get in. Bugs get in the house. Fleas can do the same. So a lot of people think my cat is indoor only, it'll never be exposed. Not true. We even had a really crazy incident not too long ago where we heard about a client's father that was exposed to rabies because of the indoor cat. Bat got into the attic, made its way down as it was dying of rabies, and infected the cat, the indoor only cat that he didn't think needed vaccines. So that, vaccines will be another thing that we go into, and what the current recommendations are, and what truly is needed versus what's legally needed, and why, and age, and all that craziness. So that'll be for a different day. But for today, yes, indoor cats can still get fleas through various ways, especially if you live in an apartment. If you live in an apartment with cats, you are going to battle fleas no matter what. You may not realize it because again, cats are very, very good groomers, but it's just a very, very common thing. You have all the strays that get left and therefore end up feral or semi-feral cats wandering around. Um, the way the ventilation systems are set up, there's just lots of different things that feed into it. But basically, every cat we see or dog in an apartment, if they do not have really good flea medication on them all the time, they are covered. And I mean covered. Um, and again, a flea allergy. So even if you have flea preventative on your pet, a truly flea allergic pet can be itchy from one bite from a flea, which is enough to kill it from the medication, but still leave your pet itchy. They can be itchy for weeks with one bite. It's just an allergic reaction to the saliva in the flea. Um, so you may not have a true problem, but if they're still in the environment, it can just keep perpetuating the allergy. And what else do I have written down? Again, for a flea to die from flea medication, it has to bite. Some people think the old school pyrethrin base, like the old hearts stuff, made a barrier around the pet. It didn't. It's still something topical, but you have to be very careful. Pyrethrins are actually a neurotoxin. So it's not as bad now that we have like Frontline and Advantage over the counter, but some of the other generics have pyrethrins or perethrins in them, and those are neurotoxins and they can kill your cat. They're not so dangerous for dogs, but cats, it makes them violently seizure. I've seen cats that have come into the emergency clinic where they have been seizuring so violently and shaking that it increases their temperature and it cooks their brain essentially. So it's very, 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 very unsafe for a cat. Or if you put it on your dog and your cat rubs up against the cat, I've seen reactions from that too. So be very conscious of the type of medication you give. If it's most topicals that go on the back are just systemic, or not systemic, topical throughout the body. They do not actually get absorbed into the system. So we will have clients that are like, I don't want to give my pet a chemical. I don't want the chemical living in their body. It's not in their body. It actually only transfers all over the skin and never truly soaks into the bloodstream, like Frontline Advantage, those type of things. Um, Revolution Plus. You'll notice that a lot of the flea medications, there's Frontline Plus. Basically, Frontline started to not work very well. Fleas were becoming used to it and not dying. So they revamped it a little, became Frontline Plus. A lot of the pluses can have intestinal parasite deworming too, just depending on the brand. Like Revolution Plus will help with, don't quote me on this one, I think it's tapes, but they do roundworms and whipworms too. So intestinal parasites of various types, even ear mites. So just depending on the medication, the plus could be a good thing. Some of the pluses can be like tick control. Um, if you, again, anywhere really in the US, ticks are a problem. We have various types of, uh, like, I cannot think of the word, of for it, but different diseases you can get from being bit by a tick. Rocky Mountain spotted fever, Lyme's disease, Ehrlichia. Some of these cats can get too. Most of them are dog kind of specific, but it's never a bad thing. What do you suggest for barn cats who basically are feral? Hiding, well, the catch is for the flea medications that you can hide in food, that's like a tablet, you have to be able to get through a vet. So they have to have been seen legally within the last year. Anywhere in the country, this law stands. The vet has to have seen the pet within 365 days to be able to be prescribed medication. So if it's a cat that for some reason has not seen the vet, do Frontline Plus or Advantage Plus. Um, for really feral cats, sometimes that requires for veterinary visits, getting a have a heart, trapping them that way, and then they go to special a lot of the like the discount clinics, or like we have a truck, a discount truck that travels around from area to area that does vaccines for strays, ferals, those type of things. They just sorry, I was reading a comment and got distracted. Um, Sometimes they're set up for feral cats. You just have to check. Feral cats is typically best to just do something that they get sedated and then it's not scary for them, less dangerous for the techs involved, the doctors involved, and just do that once a year, just as a full checkup, get their vaccines. Being outdoor feral cats, they are exposed to rabies a whole lot more than an indoor cat. So you definitely, it used to be a thing that just if it was a cat, it didn't need vaccines. And we are starting to see more cats with diseases like rabies, stuff like that, that can be like feline leukemia, feline AIDS, things from outdoor environments, swapping spit, bites, cat fights. All these things are things that can be vaccinated for to help prevent. Granted, no vaccine is 100%, but they are very good vaccines. But you just have to talk to your vet about which ones they feel is best um, and for your area. And so, yeah, for feral barn cats, I would say give them a lot of really, really good stinky food like some tuna and distract them a little and try to part their hair at the back of the neck, not at the shoulder blades, but right above the shoulder blades where they can't turn around and lick and put Frontline or Advantage. If they have not been to the vet, if they have, you can just sneak a pill into like a pill pocket or crush it up and into tuna and let them eat their flea medication once a month. There are things like the Seresto collars that you can get that last for, I think it's 8 months or 9, um, that are an option too. But outdoor feral cats and collars do not always mix. So you just have to kind of feel through what's going to be best for your situation. And we use Frontline. It stopped working, so we changed to Catago. Let me look up Catago. Let me see. Oh, wait. What was it? Oh, it's an E. I did an A. Let's see. Let's see what medication it is. Okay, I got to zoom in because I don't have my glasses on. I finally have new glasses. I should be able to read things now, but I forget to wear them. I'm so not used to it. Let's see. Okay, this is the back of it. I need to see the front of it. What is the active ingredient in it? Let's see. Let's zoom in. Oh my goodness. You'd think they would just tell you the active ingredient somewhere. Yeah, I know this is really fun for you. Oh, it's fipronil based. It's Frontline. I hate to break it to you. Fipronil is generic Frontline. It does have another medication in it. Looks like, yeah, it's basically Frontline Plus. Sorry, I hate to burst your bubble. So you went from you may have been using regular Frontline, and then when you switched to the Catago, it's Frontline Plus. So that's the difference, but it's cheaper. Be careful. I do have a warning that I have kind of written up that in the veterinary field, we always see knockoffs. Back in the day, through like pet meds, they've gotten so much better at weeding through things, but they used to get generic knockoffs of like Heartgard, or not even knockoffs. It looked like Heartgard. The box looked the same. The tablets, chewables look the same, smell the same. And then pets were still getting heartworms and things like that. And they would start doing tests on them, and it looks exactly like Heartgard, but there's no medication in it. It was just a beef flavored chewable, and it was being sold through websites. So be very careful. We are seeing that now on like Amazon with Frontline, or that's supposed to be flea medications, and all it is like coconut oil or something crazy like that, or pyrethrin based flea medication. So even though it says it's Frontline, the cats are still getting the old school pyrethrin, and they're seizuring and dying from it. So eBay and Amazon, be very, very, very careful. It can look exactly the same, packaged the same, everything looks the same, but it is not that medication. So if it's inexpensive, it's probably too good to be true, and you're getting a crap product. Um, so do your research, go through Chewy, PetSmart, your vet. A lot of vets have online pharmacies now where you order it just like you would through Chewy or PetSmart, and it comes straight to your house, and they approve it through their own websites. And it's usually they're very competitive in price, those websites. So you shouldn't have to worry about, is Chewy going to be cheaper? It could be, but you can kind of like shop around, like look at your vet's website, look at Chewy's website, and see which one has the best price. The next week, it could be different. They could be switched. Just depends on who has the coupons at the time. So let's see. And the cat doesn't need flea medication, but my husband does. Well, I make him bathe a lot because he does get in those stinky rivers. So if they can live through that much soap. But what else? So no fleas indoor cats with the Catago. That's good. And it's Frontline Plus is what that one is. You were overrun with fleas. So it takes about 3 months to break the flea cycle. And this is like my vet tech spiel. Um, So when you start noticing an outbreak of fleas in your house, it takes 3 full months of being diligent and treating the environment. Some people do like borax powder. These are all things that go in areas where your cats can't get to. Borax powder or diatomaceous earth, both of which you can get at like Home Depot, or like borax powder is like a soap basically, but both destroy the exoskeleton of the flea and dry them up. Um, like in my downstairs basement, if you know that Adam Brown Adventures sometimes stays with us in that room because it's in the basement and no one ever goes in there. Underneath the furniture, I had diatomaceous earth. Just if a bug crawls through it, it sucks out all the moisture and kills them. So it's kind of nice, and it's non-toxic to pets, which is also nice. But I still make sure I put it only in places the cats cannot get to, just for safety. Never want to be that 1%, you know. And so it takes 3 months for the whole cycle to break, and that includes vacuuming basically every day, even hardwood floors, because the eggs like to get in the cracks of the hardwood. Um, the carpet, anything that you can wash in the washing machine, you wash all the bedding. You want to do this over and over and over, because one flea lays 50 eggs a day. And then that 50 eggs the next day, and it's about a 24-hour cycle. Then the next day, all 50 fleas, 50 eggs. And you kind of see how the cycle goes. It's just exponential of how it can just become crazy. And also, when cats and dogs groom themselves and they eat the fleas, no, the eggs cannot come out of the poop, but then you worry about tapeworms. And tapeworms only periodically shed. So you're not going to see them all the time in the stool. It's just every once in a while, or you can see on the bedding, it looks like little pieces of dried rice or little segments on their butt that look like what rice? So there's different ways that you'll see the tapeworms, but no, you cannot get it. The tapeworm that cats get is a different one than humans get, so you don't have to worry about that. They're not zoonotic. They do not go back and forth between humans and pets. So don't worry about that one. Um, but when you do vacuum and do cleaning, any of the stuff that you wipe the area with goes in the trash. All the vacuum stuff goes in the trash, and you take it out immediately because fleas can hatch out of the trash. Back in the day when people used to vacuum and they had just the vacuum bags back in the day, um, fleas used to reinfest the environment just by coming out of the vacuum. And yes, the vacuum has crevices that eggs can hide in. So if you have that type of situation, if you can keep your vacuum in a place that's surrounded by diatomaceous earth, that can help limit it just takes cleaning the environment, and treating the pet. And after about 3 months, it does stop the cycle or at least greatly slow it down. And depending on your flea medication, like Frontline has a 48-hour kill time, or at least used to. I'm not sure about the plus, but the Frontline regular, it can take 48 hours to kill a flea after it bites. So think of how many bites it gets in another 48 hours. Capstar is only for 24 hours. It's a tablet, but it kills within 30 minutes, which is awesome. So we would give a flea infested pet Capstar and then go back to the cage an hour later, and the cage is just covered in fleas that have fallen off. So I like that medication. But as long as your pet has been to the vet within a year, there are some really good over the counter medications, or not over the counter, prescription medications that are tablet form for cat or dog that last for 30 days. Some of the dog ones can last up to 3 months. I think there's a cat one that I think it was recently approved for 3 months too. It's just not one that my vet sells regularly, so I'm not just familiar with it. Again, I only went back to work as a true functioning, not just relief vet tech back in September. So I'm learning about a whole bunch of new medications, especially on the dog side, because before I became a stay-at-home mom, and most of my relief places were cat only. That's all I did. I For 10 years I didn't have to know about dog medications anymore. It was kind of nice. So I am relearning, we'll say. And when it comes to flea collars, the only one that is not pyrethrin base is the Serestor or Seresto. Um, so all other flea collars can be toxic to cats. Even some dogs can have reactions, but mainly cats. Do not ever wash your pet with a flea collar on. Just saying. There are some just straight tick collars that have no flea medication in them. But again, you don't want to wash your pet with them. And most of the just straight tick ones are pyrethrin based again. And let's see what else we have. Oh, someone's commenting that the koala is not a real bear. Yeah, but exploringwithnug.com. I have no shame in plugging my husband's website. This is the new 20-ounce tumbler. And what else do we have here? Is HeartGuard ivermectin? Yes, it is. It has some species of dogs that we do not recommend ivermectin in, certain types of cattle dogs, things like that. So your vet's going to know which medication to give. Ivermectin is one of the safer medications if you have skipped any medication in the past. So if you've gone more than 2 months where you've forgotten to give that medication to your cat or dog, it's mainly dogs, but things like Revolution do cover heartworms too for cats. If you've gone more than 2 months, you want to get a heartworm test, and then a heartworm test 6 months later, just in case it was a new infection. But HeartGuard actually kills the babies, and not the adults. So the adults just basically live out their life cycle and then the body disposes of them for dogs. And uh, other medications like Sentinel and some of the other tablets, they can be a little bit riskier because it's a straight kill off and it can just wreak havoc. They can kill a pet if they have a true heartworm uh, in their system, heartworms. Cats typically only get one heartworm. When the heartworm dies, it does kill the cat for the most part. It causes severe heart disease. It That one heartworm, there's no treatment for when it comes to cats, and it will be fatal eventually. So that's why we recommend things like Revolution. That's what my babies are on. That way they can't get heartworms too. And since my cats do go out on the catios that I make and they lean up against the screen, there is a chance that the mosquito can be on the outside of the screen and still bite the cat. So, safety. And we used DE and clogged our vacuum. Oh, I guess DE is the diatomaceous earth. Yeah, you have to be a little careful. Any powder and vacuums can have some issues. I had a vacuum that was very squeaky, like its belt sounded like it squeaked after I put down the carpet powder, regular like Arm& Hammer stuff. So I know that one firsthand. Diatomaceous earth is very fine milled and like packable. Like you could push it down and like leave a paw print in it type. So I could see it easily clogging, especially if it's humid outside. And yes, thank you, Sean. He says, hit that thumbs up button. Let me see if there was anything else on my list. I said 50 eggs a day, pyrethrins. Oh, so when we go into homes and they swear to us, I can tell you, we have a lot of arguments in the veterinary field about people saying my pet does not have fleas, but they're only chewing over what we call the tail head or the base of the tail, maybe down the thighs, and that's the only spot they are chewing on. Or some cats like to overgroom their belly too. Um, and they're like, my pet doesn't have fleas, but you see a little bit of black debris. You don't necessarily see a live flea, but just the little black specks. Then you take a wet gauze and you just wipe at it, and what do you know? The gauze turns red. That's the digested blood from the flea. Um, or they argue. You put them on a really good flea medication because a lot of the tablets now have a good kill time. Like the Capstar, within 30 minutes to 2 hours, they can kill a flea, versus like the old school Frontline was 48 hours. Um, you, it's hard not to argue back with people. They just think there's no fleas in their environment because they're not seeing them, but they don't realize their pet is eating them and getting rid of them. Or their flea medication is just really crappy and it's just slowly killing them and still making them itchy. The fleas are still allowed to crawl around for 2 days on them. So yeah, um, when your vet tells you there may be a chance of fleas based on what they see, don't argue. Just be like, okay, what medication do I need? That would solve so much. um, so yeah, I think that's my whole spiel. I kind of made sure to talk fast to get it out because I know this is a live and people do like to be able to ask questions, and that's why I did this one live. But there are other people that just need the educational part of it that want me to just speed it up. I get that one a lot. And my vets do a pet health scheme where you get your flea, wormer, 2 checkups a year vaccine. Scheme isn't my favorite word when it comes to vets, but some vet clinics we'll say, over vaccinate in some of these packages. There used to be, back in the day when I was a baby tech, what was called a Giardia vaccine that certain well-known clinics that are in PetSmarts would push. So they would say that the pet needs Giardia vaccine, a lepto vaccine, the distemper vaccine, the rabies vaccine, the bordetella vaccine, all 5 to like a 10-week-old puppy, Chihuahua. And then the puppy would have a reaction and they never knew which one made the puppy just about die or die. Um, so they're telling you that you're saving all this money because you're getting all of these vaccines in this group, this bundling, and you don't realize that, well, one, that puppy, being that it was a very, very small, petite thing that was teacup and only weighed a pound, probably shouldn't have gotten 5 vaccines at once. And things like lepto back then used to have a really high reaction rate. And lepto is only for standing water. They go hunting, they eat squirrels, they go after rodents, that type of thing. Not that the teacup chihuahua was going to go for that. So that's a bacteria that you get from uh, wildlife urine that humans can't get to. So it is something that your pets need if they're exposed. If you take them to the lake, if you go through the woods for hiking, that type of thing. But yeah, so the bundling's gotten a lot better, but I'm still not trustworthy of some of the bundling that they say that you get all this stuff included and see how it's saving you money, but really your pet may not have needed that in the first place and it would have been cheaper at another place. So just be wary of what they're giving. Um, and there's a lot of corporate veterinary clinics now. Corporations are buying up clinics left and right. So some are good, some still are a little old school. So it's just good to educate yourself. But not all corporate vets are bad. I'm not saying that by any means, but it's one of those, you got to watch out for yourself. Know what your pet needs, do research. And yes, research online Dr. Google is going to tell you 20 different things. Um, and anytime you have a gut feeling that something doesn't seem right, ask them. Just point blank, be like, does my pet really need this? A lot of vets these days, just to kind of get off on a tangent, we the veterinary clinics, the way they pay doctors is by how much they bring in. Or there's a bottom line that they have to meet this much a year or they get their pay docked. Um, but a lot of clinics that I know of, like the bigger ones, you have to bring in a percentage or bring in a certain amount and you get paid a percentage of that. So doctors, let's say, I've seen this one. Um, Dog goes in with anal gland issues. Looks like it might be an infection and it's about to rupture. Then my friend walks out of that clinic with an estimate for $1,200 to clean out the anal gland. That's because they quoted for sedating the dog, which probably was needed. Anal glands are extremely painful when they get impacted. Um, but they wanted to run on a young dog, they wanted to run senior blood work essentially with a urinalysis, large panel instead of like a mini panel of blood chemistry. So like your kidney and liver function, that type of thing. But they wanted to run a really big panel and they wanted a full CBC to look at the red and white blood cell counts and hand counts. And like they add in all these charges. Um, when there's different levels that they could do, I guess you could say. They go for the really big stuff first, and they do the antibiotic that is like a catch-all type of antibiotic that is broad spectrum, but it is the most expensive one they have in the clinic. They'll start with that. So you have to be very good about being your pet's own advocate or an advocate for your pet and for you, because they are going to give you this crazy, crazy bill. And then when it was all said and done, after my friend called me, was like, oh my God, I can't afford this. Including sedating the pet at that time and getting antibiotics, and they infused the anal gland with antibiotics, like an antibiotic cream. She walked out and I think it was like 450, including a small panel of blood, just to make sure it could be sedated safely. But they didn't run a chemistry or white blood cells and red blood cells, all that, a CBC. uh there's just certain things that they didn't need to run, but the way clinics work now, a lot of vets will just give you a really, really high estimate, and then you work your way down from there of what you want to do. They don't always tell you that it's an estimate that you can work your way down from, so that's where I kind of like warn you, have to be careful. And let's see, Try fabric softener sheets. Yes, just be careful not to have fabric softener sheets around your cats. The the really weird cats will try to lick it, and there's not a lot of stuff that, uh, like in the using the fabric softener sheets around the house to try to get rid of the fleas. It's an old wives' tale that actually can work, but I had a cat try to lick it, and because of the texture of it, it got stuck to the little burrs of the tongue, the tongue hairs, and it kind of just ends up working its way back. And the cat ended up having to have surgery to have the uh, fabric softener sheet removed. So be careful where you put it. And if you have one of those weird cats, you just know that that's a possibility. I've seen weird stuff removed from pets. So not every pet is going to try to eat the fabric softener sheet, but there's that one. Kind of like I've removed iPhone charging cords, headphones, still complete earbuds on them, dollar bills, tons of underwear, golf balls, rocks. Uh, I've had a dog get impacted with cat litter or cat poop, where I just ate so much out of the litter box and all that clay impacted, and it kept doing it every day. And nothing could at one point move through. That it ended up with like a foot long of just tube of cat litter and poop, which smelled great on the way out or when we had to remove it. So some pets just eat the wrong things. uh, let's see. What about testing for rabies titers? I know in my state, I don't know how other states are. Oh, there was a freeze warning issued if you couldn't hear. Um, it's not legal in this state. By law, they have to have a rabies vaccine, either a 1 year or a 3 year. And the good news about rabies vaccines for cats, we used to worry about all the reactions, like they would get a certain type of cancer in the injection spot. Well, most doctors are very good about going as low as possible down by the back knee, um, and giving the injection there, just in case. And anything injected technically could become a cancerous spot. It's just the way the body reacts. But rabies vaccines were known for having this reaction. Most vets now have what's called a pure vax rabies, which lowers that chance greatly in cats. So it's not the old school big vial that they pull up as needed, like it used to be a 10 ml or a 20 ml vial that was kept in the fridge, and all cats, dogs, and horses would get the same rabies vaccine. Not the case anymore. um, Veterinarians really should, and you can always double check. They're called PureVax vaccines. That is what, like my doctor, that's all we use in cats is the PureVax for distemper, leukemia, and rabies. And now they even have what's called a half dose. So it's the same concentration, same way it works in the body, but they only have to give 0.5 ml, so half an ml versus one full ml for the same coverage and uh, titers be built up in the system. So less, if you get something underneath your skin of an injection, you're going to get a bubble and it's going to itch or burn depending on where it is and how it rubs against the muscle until it gets soaked in. So less irritation, basically. And if you have a squirmy cat, less time you have to hold them. um, oh, you were using the diatomaceous earth for bed bugs. I've heard about that too. Any bug, really. Like, I film in my garage. We know this. It's all wonky. Only until June. June. New house, new studio. I gotta figure out how to set it up, but we'll get to that point. But because I'm in the garage, there's garage doors that open up. Yes, we get bugs in here. And then again, the room where the guest room is straight across. I have a lining on the inside of this door because cats don't go in the garage of diatomaceous earth. So basically, any bug that tries to make it into the rest of the house dies. I kind of feel a little bad when it's like wolf spiders. I know, hear me out. Most people are like, ah, spiders, especially spiders. Like, we get wolf spiders in this area. But wolf spiders eat venomous spiders. Yes, they jump at you and they're scary. but I'm a big fan of them just because I know they eat the really, really bad spiders, which also makes me wonder why they get so big in this area. Like, what are they eating? Am I feeding them well? Are there lots of venomous spiders in my garage I don't know about? Um, so, but yeah, we get some really big wolf spiders where their body's at least about the size of a quarter, and then with their legs, they're 2.5 inches in spread. They're very pretty though, and I do scoop them up in a dustpan and throw them outside. I don't kill them. Um, yeah, so I feel bad when they try to make it into the rest of the house and I find them all shriveled up and they're down on the floor. But let's see. I'm going to wrap this up. This is the end of the flea talk. So if you guys have any other questions while I'm on a live, just go ahead and ask them. And yes, the new house is going to be bigger. If you know that the house that we've been in for 14 years was our starter house, but we bought it 2 weeks before the 2008 recession hit. It sucks. Well, it doesn't suck. It's a good house, but it's technically a 2 bedroom. And then we have like a bonus room downstairs. Neither kid will sleep in the room downstairs. It's too far away from the parents. It's scary. So they have bunk beds, and our house is technically a 2 bedroom. So 1,200 feet gets really small when you have need for at least one studio, mine. And then my husband is streaming out of the living room when he does the Wasted Air podcast with Adam Brown Adventures, Exploring with Nug, their podcast. And then he's also editing in the living room, um, or filming in the drive. Like it, we're running out of room. 1,200 square feet with 2 YouTubers and 2 little kids is just getting a bit cramped. So we are upgrading, thankfully, not downgrading. And I it's supposed to be happening in June. We'll see. Dates get pushed back. The people we're buying their house from are building a house. So building a house right now is just chaotic. I feel so bad for them. Their house first sat for like 18 months as a slab because COVID hit and nothing was done to their house. And then it took 2 months for the last 5 windows to come in. They come in and they're told that they're 90 days till closing. And then they open the box to put the windows in and realize they're the wrong size and have to reorder the windows that took 2 months to start with. So yeah, so we've been planning this since like August. It's been that long. So yeah, we're actually going to have like space, which will be very nice. I will have, when I film, it'll be all not crowded in furniture. I'll actually have space when I show off the cat toys and my Perini. I bought the jumbo set for those of you that saw that. And those of you that told me that I wasted their time, I got a few of these, by having a live showing this new product. Screw you. um, I thought it would be more interesting. It's my channel. I got to do it. If you want to see someone just set up a Perini and not talk or do anything, just go to their website. You can find out there exactly how to put it together and what it looks like in the box, all that goodness. But I wanted to do it while talking with my friends that I have made through this. And yeah, so Perini will probably be next week. I'm thinking next week I might go live again and just kind of show you it. And because I bought the 96 piece and then I already had the 15 piece, I think I'll have different styles set up of what you can make with it and then be making one and talking with you all again. I like lives. I know some people like lives specifically, and then other people just want a how to wham bam, thank you ma'am, no BS in the way type. So I'm trying to balance it out for everyone. But because I'm getting the Perini, I'm going to probably do another live, just showing you all how cool it is. And no, I am not sponsored by them. Yes, they sent me the 15-piece one for free, but they didn't know I was Cat Toy Lady. They were just looking for people that were willing to share about them. And I said I would share as long as I could be honest. And they sent it to me, and my cats love it. Charlie, when I came downstairs, was sleeping on it. That's his spot now. So yeah. And Oh, the worst bugs you get up in Toronto is bed bugs. Ugh. Yeah, yeah. Luckily those only come if you go to a hotel and you have to worry about those, or motel. I'm a hotel snob, so hopefully that won't happen. Even though when traveling, when I worked for the cat toy company, there were a couple places that we checked the sheets real quick for bed bugs and pulled things away, and the my business partner with that still ended up squishing a bed bug in the middle of the night and having a bug bite on her butt. Um, and I was so happy I did not put my suitcase on the floor. I put it up on a wire rack and didn't open it and left it away from the wall. So, and then when I got home, I left it outside and went through everything outside just to make sure I didn't bring home any bed bugs, and sprayed it down with stuff. So it was a gross hotel. But all right. I like the way, or I like your way you go, girl. Okay, thank you. Yes, do what I want. I do. I actually had the question of, do you have a YouTube persona? I was like, no, this is me. I can talk to a brick wall day or night, camera on or off. I am a talker. I have to say, doing YouTube now, because you don't want dead time, you don't want silence. When I do have silence around people in my everyday life, I do over talk. Especially if I get nervous, like nervous situations, I really ramble. Like my really fast talking I'm doing right now. I That's all it is. And it's just like a unconscious stream of thoughts, I guess you could say, versus a conscious stream of thought, because I don't always filter and I don't always say the right things, and I sometimes overshare. Um, and part of that I blame on YouTube because I'm so used to having to fill the silence now. But this is me. This is how I am when I'm a vet tech. This is what my husband gets. Brutal honesty. And yeah, and my kids get my sarcasm. Uh, my poor kids are doomed between my husband's sarcasm and mine. They I'm gonna have to teach them how to wrangle it in the right situations. We're learning the hard way already with my daughter. But yeah. And yes, bye, Chris. Um, I take it Chris Riddle is leaving. Or was it a different Chris? Wait. Oh, yep, gotta catch you later. I don't have my glasses on. They're really cute though. I'm this old. I have 20/20 vision, but I have really bad oh, I just completely blanked on the word. Astigmatism. Um, and my astigmatisms are different for my depth. So even though I had 20/20 vision, I can't read easily without glasses, but I can't read road signs either. And they're two different strengths. So for my type of astigmatism, because they're not far enough away in the way they work, they told me if I got the transition glasses, basically I'd be nauseous all the time. So I have two different pair of glasses, like my grandmother did. I have one for reading and one for everything else. And I haven't gotten quite used to them because it makes everything feel 3D. Um, I'm so used to not having depth perception, which I really notice when I drive, especially at night. My husband loves it. But it's it's almost like everything pops out at me now. I see so much detail of things. Like you don't realize how bad your vision is. You're just used to living slightly blurry. That when you put glasses on, everything is like a 3D movie. Like you feel like you can touch things and they're popping out, and there's depth and there's clarity of things far enough away that really have never had clarity. So eventually you'll see me with glasses on. Or if you see me with my husband's stuff, um, I'll sometimes have glasses on because I'm covering up the fact that I'm not wearing makeup. And you want Perini to make a wheel. Oh, if I can make one from the Perini. I think I could, honestly. I'd have to think through that. As I'm laying in bed trying to go to sleep at night, I'll try to figure out how to do that one. I have to get all the pieces and really see how they flex and move when they're big and combined. Um, but I kind of want to see how it works. Like, I want to put it up onto, I have a piece of furniture that comes to like here on me, here on me. And I want to build like ramps on top of it because the cats want to get up there anyways. I want to be able to let them without them sliding into home plate and knocking everything off. So kind of using it for ramps, things like that. We'll see. Um, Off topic, what is your husband's merch? But off topic, but your husband's merch is my initials. Oh, Nug? Is that what you're talking about? We'll see. But yeah, or exploring with Nug. EWN, maybe? I don't know. But isn't the koala that I designed, isn't he cute? I have one for Adam. So Adam will be getting, God, what's the name of the darn bird that I did for him? Oh, I can't remember now. It's this brown bird that he's obsessed with. So I did the bird for him. So, oh, we'll see that one day. But I'm going to wrap things up. And yeah, so have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, what little's left of it. Don't freeze because half of us in the country right now are a bit chilly. It was 20 degrees when I woke up. We down here in the South call that extremely cold. And yes, so, and that's why I'm in my garage and I have my sweater on. I'm like, I have this really cute shirt. I mean, it's so cute, but I was freezing, so. Oh, and I realized I had no cat necklace on today or anything. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you all for joining me. Go make sure that you play with your cat, interact with them, brush them, whatever you want. Just give your cat some love and attention. So, bye guys.